COVID-19 cases remain at 4 digits today. Warning of heavy rain in Peninsula until tomorrow. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. You're watching News at 10. I'm Jessica Lee. 2 Singaporean pilots were reported to be in stable condition after the light aircraft they were flying made an emergency landing on the southbound side of the North-South Plus Highway heading towards Kulai in Johor around 11:15 a.m. this morning. Now, Civil Aviation Authority of Malaysia, or CAAM, Chief Executive Officer Captain Chester Vu said the private aircraft under the Premier Air Singapore stable was flying from Senai to Melaka when the incident happened. Elaborating further in a statement released, Captain Vu said the Johor CAAM Air Traffic Control Tower received a call at 10:40 a.m. from the aircraft pilot asking for permission to turn back to the Senai International Airport in Johor Bahru because of technical problems. He also said the Beechcraft Model 35 Bonanza aircraft had been moved to a location where it would not obstruct traffic on the highway. The CAAM CEO added that a search and rescue team had completed its task and an investigation would be conducted by the Air Accident Investigation Bureau of the Transport Ministry. Now, 1,104 new recoveries from COVID-19 virus were recorded today, bringing the total recoveries in Malaysia since the outbreak began to 41,597 cases. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah in a statement today also said 1,096 new infections were recorded in the last 24 hours. Elaborating on the matter, Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham said there are only 6 imported cases. The current figures of active cases in the country stands at 12,843 cases, and the total cases detected since February is 54,775 infections. The Health DG said Selangor recorded the highest number of cases with 603 cases, followed by Sabah with 313 cases. As of noon, 106 COVID-19 patients are receiving treatment in ICU, where 46 individuals require breathing support. There are also 3 new deaths related to COVID-19 reported today. All of the deceased have health issues such as high blood pressure, heart condition, and stroke. Meanwhile, Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham said 3 new COVID-19 clusters were also detected today. The clusters are identified as Pangkalan Barat Cluster, Bakti Cluster and Bayam Indah Cluster. He said the Pangkalan Barat Cluster was detected in Pulau Pinang, Kuala Kangsar and Kinta in Perak, where the index case was tested positive for COVID-19 on the 10th of November. He added that close contact screenings were conducted on 251 individuals, which revealed another 19 cases. Bakti cluster, he said, was reported at a prison in Seremban, with the index case being a prisoner who was found positive when screening new inmates. A total of 481 individuals have been screened so far, with 16 testing positive. Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham said a third new Bayam Indah cluster in Kulim and Kuala Muda in Kedah had reported 10 positive cases out of 70 individuals screened. He also said that of the 330 reported clusters in the country, 163 have ended while 167 are still active. Of the active clusters, 54 reported new cases. The Sabah Medical Services Union, or SMSU, wants the Health Ministry to streamline measures and strategies to maintain the mental health of health workers who have been working tirelessly and selflessly round the clock following the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, SMSU said it appreciated the counselling services provided for the health workers in Sabah, including those from the peninsula, but wanted the government to also look into their welfare. Its president Ajulahin Japin said the union had received a report that health workers in the state had to work a 12-hour shift since the COVID-19 outbreak, hence the need to properly manage the stress facing them. He said poor mental health could affect the quality of work of health workers. Meanwhile, SMSU Assistant Secretary General Melvin Ebin Bondi said there are three important components affecting mental health, namely pressure, anxiety and depression, which has to be detected early among the health workers. He thanked the government for appointing more contract psychology officers to provide counselling to affected patients and workers, but noted that the 6-month contract given to them was short, as it is feared the COVID-19 pandemic would not end then. SMSU said he had also received complaints from health workers over their leave application, which had been frozen, and on their allowance payment. SMSU Executive Secretary Lawrence Voon, in thanking the government for the 500 ringgit one-off payment for frontliners in Budget 2021, said allowance payment, including overtime for the health workers, should be paid promptly. As many as 381 individuals were held yesterday for violating the Movement Control Order SOPs. The Senior Minister of Security, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, in a statement today said, from the 381 violations, activities at entertainment centres recorded the highest number of offences at 96. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said other offences recorded yesterday included not wearing face mask 80, failure to observe physical distancing 69, failure to provide customer entry record facility 57, illegal interstate or district travel to areas under Conditional Movement Control Order or CMCO 33, and others 46. He added that from 381 individuals arrested, 377 were compounded while 4 others were remanded. Meanwhile, the senior minister said Ops Benteng yesterday netted 20 illegal immigrants, 3 smugglers, and impounded 9 land vehicles. On mandatory quarantine, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said from the 24th of July until yesterday, a total of 72,182 individuals had returned from abroad. From the total, he said 9,855 individuals are undergoing mandatory quarantine, 404 individuals were sent to hospitals for treatment, while 61,923 individuals were discharged, adding that they came back from 36 countries. The Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency, or MMEA Pahang, drove off a foreign fishing boat believed to be from Vietnam and 2 tanker ships after they were detected encroaching into local waters at 2 separate locations in Kuantan on Friday. Now, according to Pahang MMEA Director, First Admiral Dato' Amran Daud, the 3 vessels were detected by a bombardier CL-415 at 43 and 90 nautical miles east during routine air surveillance over Pahang waters. The intrusion notification was then relayed to the Pekan maritime ship KM nearby, which was conducting Ops Kuda Laut. He also said upon noticing the presence of MMEA aircraft and ships, the fishing boat changed its course to international waters but was driven out of the border of Malaysian territory. KM Pekan then headed to the location of 2 tankers and successfully drove them away from local waters after flashing the warning lights. KM Pekan is currently stationed near marine borders to ensure no more foreign vessels intrude. In the previous 2 weeks, 9 intrusions were made by MMEA Pahang with the help from MMEA Johor. First Admiral Dato' Amran added that the expulsion of foreign fishermen and vessels are part of the safety measures taken to prevent the spread of COVID-19 by foreigners. The 2 temporary relief centres, or PPS, which have been opened following flash floods in Johor Bahru and Pontian districts, were closed at 2 p.m. today. Now, according to State Health and Environment Committee Chairman R. Vidyanathan, this was due to floods receding in the afternoon. The closure involved the PPS in Sekolah Kebangsaan Kampung Pasir, Johor Bahru, which housed 148 people from 37 families from Kampung Pasir, Kampung Sri Sedang, Kampung Pengkalan Rinting and Kampung Sri Jaya. Meanwhile, in Pontian, the PPS at Kampung Pulai Mosque Hall, which accommodated 11 people from 4 families from the village, was also closed. These PPS had been opened starting 7:30 p.m. yesterday. The government is constantly monitoring the flood situation in the state and will take necessary actions in assisting those affected. Over in Malacca, as of 4 p.m. this evening, 482 individuals from 142 families were evacuated to 6 PPS due to floods. 3 districts were affected by floods, namely Alugaja, Jasin and Melaka Tengah. PPS Sekolah Kebangsaan Air Molek houses 100 residents from 28 families, while the PPS in Sekolah Kebangsaan Durian Tunggal saw an increase of 71 flood victims. The floods also hit Jasin, requiring the establishment of 4 PPS to house 325 individuals. The 4 PPS are Sekolah Kebangsaan Tehel, SGKC Shuhien, Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Bukit Katil and Sekolah Kebangsaan Parit Gantong. During the evening, Sungai Duyong in Jasin still recorded a water level increase of 1.5 meters. Meanwhile, in Perak, the flash floods that hit 4 districts have subsided and 3 PPS have been closed as residents were allowed to return to their respective homes. The closure involved PPS Dewan MPTI in Langkap, PPS Dewan Kampung Sungai Ara in Batu Kurau and PPS Dewan Semai Bakti Felda Ijo. Previously, these PPS sheltered 173 residents from 45 families. Following the closure, only 2 PPS are still in operation, which are PPS Sekolah Rendah Agama Rakyat Nga Ibrahim Matang and PPS Sekolah Kebangsaan Parit Haji Aman in Bagan Serai. The 2 PPS are housing 194 residents from 76 families. Now, the off days of 15,000 officers and personnel of the Malaysian Fire and Rescue Department, or JBPM, nationwide may be frozen accordingly during the current monsoon season. According to Housing and Local Government Deputy Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Ismail Abdul Muttalib, all fire and rescue personnel are always on standby to face any possibility during the season.
Cuti anggota-anggota kita sebenarnya setakat ni kita belum bukukan cuti secara ni dan kita tengok keadaan. Andai kata kalau keperluan bukukan cuti, mungkin kita akan bukukan cuti. Tapi buat masa itu kita berikan ruang bagi mereka yang perlukan cuti di atas sebab-sebab yang tidak boleh dielakkan.
He explained that JBPM officers and personnel are currently undergoing rescue training as well as sanitization operations at temporary relief shelters. They are also the frontliners for the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. At the same time, their services are required in the monsoon season. The Ministry of Agriculture and Food Industries, through the Fisheries Department, has allocated a total of 1.5 million ringgit for the Fishermen's Welfare and Natural Disaster Fund to ease the group's burden. Now, Deputy Minister of Agriculture and Food Industries too, Dato' Cik Abdullah Matnawi, said so far more than 800,000 ringgit has been distributed to 721 recipients.
Jadi inilah di antara bentuk bantuan yang dapat kementerian berikan kepada nelayan-nelayan yang ditimpa musibah seperti mana yang terkena kepada saudara Nawawi ini. Yang mana kerajaan pada tahun 2020 ini telah memperuntukkan 1.5 juta 1.5 juta bagi bantuan bencana dan kebajikan kepada nelayan dan setakat ini maknanya sudah hampir sejuta lah, 800,000 lebih telah dibelanjakan untuk memberi sumbangan ataupun bantuan kepada nelayan-nelayan yang ditimpa bencana ini.
Until October, the Fisheries Department has given out 81,000 ringgit to 28 recipients in Kelantan alone. Coming up, Bank Islam ready to accept applications for enhanced targeted repayment assistance. Now, every airline in the AirAsia group has received the top 7 stars for COVID-19 health ratings from aviation safety experts at airlineratings.com, following the implementation of numerous industry innovations in recent times to make flying more seamless, hygienic, and contactless than ever before. Now, as outlined on its website, airlineratings.com in a statement today said airlines are judged on 7 criteria. These include website information on COVID-19 procedures, the wearing of face masks, personal protection equipment for the crew, modified meal service, regular deep cleansing of the aircraft, personal sanitizer kits, and social distancing on board. Earlier this week, AirAsia announced its newest innovation, Scan to Fly, an industry-leading technology that can determine a passenger's eligibility to fly before they arrive at the airport, including real-time verification of relevant health documentation. AirAsia also confirmed numerous other recent enhancements which are already in place, including automated bag drop services, roving technology for temperature checks, and biometric facial recognition technology called Fast Airport Clearance Experience System, or FACES, the airline's contactless facial recognition passenger processing system. Now, Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad is ready to accept applications for the Enhanced Targeted Repayment Assistance, or ETRA, from the B40, M40 and micro enterprises adversely impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, starting from tomorrow. Now, the ETRA was announced by Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul Abdul Aziz at the tabling of Budget 2021 earlier this month. In a statement released today, Bank Islam said B40 individuals or recipients of Bantuan Sara Hidup or Bantuan Prihatin Rakyat, micro enterprises, and M40 individuals registered under Bantuan Prihatin Nasional database may get a 3-month deferment of monthly installments or reduction of monthly installments by up to 50% for 6 months. Of these 3 categories, only the M40 group needs to submit a self-declaration form to declare the reduction in income. The options are available to all financings approved before the 1st of October 2020, which are not in arrears of more than 90 days at the time of application. Customers who previously received other forms of targeted repayment assistance and who wish to request for further assistance under these additional measures can still do so by contacting Bank Islam. Bank Islam Chief Executive Officer Muhammad Muazzam Muhammad said since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, the bank has offered multiple options to alleviate the financial constraints on its customers. For application forms, inquiries and further information on Bank Islam's post-moratorium assistance, customers can visit the bank's website, while applications can also be made by calling Bank Islam's contact centre. And that's it for this evening. In our top story, Selangor registers highest single-day COVID-19 tally with 603 new cases. Now, join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. I'm Jessica Lee. Stay tuned to Saluran Berita RTM and have a pleasant evening.